Right then, so I thought I'd answer some more questions about shaker doors and do a bit more of a sort of in-depth video. I got asked so many questions, so many people messaged me, what router bit to use, what roundover bit to use, how do you do it, what glue to use, how long do you clamp, do you use dominoes, etc, etc, etc. So I just thought I'd make a more in-depth detail about making shaker doors. So today, these are the doors that we're going to make. We're going to make this door, and then 2 drawer fronts. So we're going to turn this pile of MDF into some shaker doors. So I've just taken some measurements from the CAD. This door is obviously shorter than this door because of the bench intercepts this door, and then there's 2 drawer fronts. But these are the sizes of the 2 doors that I need. So I leave 3, 6, 9 mil. So in total. Right, so there's all the pieces. We got 2 drawers and 2 tool doors. One of the doors is longer than the other door, if you remember on the CAD. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and mark the faces. I always mark the face. I'll show you why when I'm putting them through the router table, but I always mark the face, and I'm going to mark the whichever ones are the center rails of the 2 tool doors, and that will become apparent as well when we're on the router table. Right, we've got the table set up with a cutter in it and the router underneath there, the old DeWalt 1/4 inch router. These tables are really cheap, by the way. This is like 180 quid for the table. I actually bought it second hand. I paid 100 quid for it from a guy who made kitchens. He had like 3 of them, and he just used them to do beaded face frames with the Craig jig. Incidentally, I haven't got a router lift on here at the moment, which is a little bit annoying. Once all of this Howden's stuff has gone to the client's house where I'm installing it in a couple of weeks, I'll build a workbench all the way along here, and the router will obviously be recessed into the workbench itself. But for now, it's just on the main assembly table, just clamped on. So the reason I mark the faces is because I get somewhere close. I put a little mark and I get somewhere close, but it's never, ever absolutely perfect. So what you'll find is you'll cut the slots, and then you'll put the door together, and there'll be a lip between the rails and the stiles in the height. So if you just mark F for face on every single rail and every single stile, and keep that F facing up in the router table, they will all be exactly the same. So when you come to glue them up, the rails and the stiles will meet perfectly like this, rather than having a lip in them, which is what you'll end up having if you don't take care to mark the face. So let's get machining. I'm going to use this Trend 9.5 slot cutter on the router table. So we'll set this up, and yeah, we'll start machining. So at this point, they can either be left like this, so they can be butted up like this and then glued and clamped. The loose tenon will go in the end and be glued in, obviously, and then you can sand this face, fill this with glue, and then sand it flush at the end. I give my customers the option. They can either have that, or I can put a roundover in. So the next step for me on these doors is I'll round over every single edge of every single rail and stile, both faces. So then when these join together, there's actually going to be a radius here and a radius here. So you'll visibly be able to see a dip here and here, and along all the top and bottom edges and outside edges as well. I think it's a really nice detail. It makes the door look like it's made of multiple pieces rather than just MDF that's been sort of sanded back and painted as a solid piece. So I'll do that now. So they're now rounded over. So now when you join them together, they look like that. So now we're laid out dry. I'm just going to measure the bays. So measure between here and here. I mean, I could do it on the CAD obviously, but measure twice, cut once and all that. So I'm going to measure between here and here and here and here. And I'm going to add the depth of the cutter, which is 9mm. So I'm going to add 9mm all the way around. So it'd be 18, it'd be this measurement plus 18 and this measurement plus 18. Cut 2 identical center panels. I've already cut the loose tenons because I make them in bulk, at 18mm wide. Yeah, I just make them in bulk basically. So I've already got these 9mm thick ready to go in, and then we'll start gluing up. I think this exploded view is probably quite helpful for some people. I've laid it out so you can see all the components of the door. 2-panel shaker door made with loose tenons. Now, I've had so many people ask about using dominoes, even a couple of people ask about using tensos. You could probably, I have seen somebody use some tensos to make shaker doors. So I could use some tensos to make these shaker doors, and I probably will try it one day. However, you'd have to have rail and stile thickness of about 100mm minimum to be able to use the P14s. Now, in regards to dominoes, I've made shaker doors with dominoes before. It's fiddly. It takes a lot of time. It takes more time on the router table than this does. It takes a lot more time. And the reason is, if I was going to domino these together with a domino in here, I would have to mark each and every single, I haven't got my pencil, but I'd have to mark each and every rail here where they intersect, and I'd have to stop the groove cutter before it got to this point. So I'd have to push into the router table, then go along and then come out. So making sure that I didn't come out of the end. I just found it a bit of a faff, to be honest with you. I think that the loose tenon method is so strong. The tenon is glued in. It's glued all the way around. It's as strong as a domino. I don't care what anybody says. This method is as strong as a domino going through like this. I've made so many of these doors now, never ever had to come back. Like I say, I've made them with domino machine before. It takes a lot more time. It's much more fiddly. I love the domino machine. Don't get me wrong. I use it for a lot of stuff, but making shaker doors is not what I use it for. I use loose tenons. So quick to machine these in the on the router table. No marking. You just mill the groove all the way along. You mill the grooves into the ends and all the way around on the center one, and go from there. So yeah, anyway, this is the exploded view, and now we will start gluing up. So here's the end result. I've just taken them out of the clamps, well, they store out of the clamps, and cut the tenons off and sanded them off. I've just wiped off all the dust so you can get a better idea, but I mean, the joints are so tight. Really, really lovely detail on the door. So yeah, I've made so many of them like this. They're so strong. Yeah, I'll keep going with them.